How do the Dallas Cowboys keep getting away with this? So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is, Cowboys are rumored to sign $63 million running back following release. The Dallas Cowboys could be among the best fits for a recently released 4-time Pro Bowl running back. As noted by Sporting News' Jacob Kamenker, the Cowboys are among 4 best fit destinations for Cook following his release from the New York Jets. Kamenker's main argument for the potential addition of Cook stems from Dallas's lack of efficiency with Tony Pollard as the lead running back for the first time in his career. Following the release of Ezekiel Elliott, Pollard is averaging a career-low 4.0 yards per carry this season after averaging 5.2 yards per carry last season in his first Pro Bowl campaign. The Cowboys threw their trust into Tony Pollard during the 2023 NFL offseason and moved on from veteran starter Ezekiel Elliott to do so, writes Kamenker. The results haven't been great, as Pollard is averaging a career-worst 4.0 yards per carry and has ceded some of his workload to Rico Dowdle in recent weeks. As noted by Kamenker, Pollard has actually ceded the workload in a few recent games, most notable during the team's Week 14 win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Pollard carried the ball 16 times for 59 yards in comparison to Dowdle's 12 carries for 46 yards for 1 touchdown during the game. Dowdle also carried the ball 12 times for 79 yards and 1 touchdown in a win over the New York Giants back in November, while Pollard had 15 carries for 55 yards. However, Dowdle missed the team's Week 17 win over the Detroit Lions due to an ankle injury. Pollard carried the ball 16 times for just 49 yards on 3.1 yards per carry. While Cook has been one of the least efficient running backs in the NFL this season, he's averaging a career-low 3.2 yards per carry. Some of that has to do with the Jets' stagnant offensive situation. Furthermore, Cook's inconsistent playing time as a result of playing a backup role to Breece Hall hasn't helped matters. Despite being active for the team's game against the Cleveland Browns in Week 17, Cook didn't play a single offensive snap. During the week prior against the Washington Commanders, Cook played in just 5 snaps. As Kamenker notes, Cook could fill the Dowdle role, and owner Jerry Jones has an affinity for signing big names. With Dowdle now banged up, Cook could be a logical replacement for him, writes Kamenker. He would likely fare better behind Dallas's strong offensive line and could help take some touches away from Pollard while offering a bit more explosive playmaking ability than Dowdle. The Cowboys have been known to hunt for big names under Jerry Jones, so an opportunity to add Cook on the cheap may interest the Cowboys enough to pull the trigger. It's worth noting that when Cook was available at the trade deadline, he was intrigued of the idea of joining the Cowboys. Via ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Cook was intrigued by potentially playing for Baltimore or Dallas, I'm told, though neither team ever really entertained the perceived positional need at the deadline, Fowler wrote back in November. Cook just wants to play, and maybe New York can still help him with that. With Cook seeking to play for a Super Bowl contender, and the Cowboys have an obviously need for a complementary back next to Pollard, the signing makes perfect sense. The second story is Cowboys work out La'el Collins and Damian Wilson to add more firepower to the Cowboys. Concerned about their depth at offensive line and linebacker heading into the playoffs, the Dallas Cowboys are working out 2 familiar faces, Tuesday La'el Collins and linebacker Damian Wilson, according to multiple sources. Collins started 71 of 74 games with the Cowboys from 2015 to 2021 at left guard and right tackle before signing with the Cincinnati Bengals in 2022. Wilson was a 4th-round pick in 2015 and started 22 games before playing with the Kansas City Chiefs, where he won a Super Bowl, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Carolina Panthers. The Cowboys have concerns along their offensive line, with left guard Tyler Smith suffering a torn plantar fascia in his left foot in last week's win against the Detroit Lions, although coach Mike McCarthy said there is a chance he could play in the Week 18 finale against the Washington Commanders. Left tackle Tyron Smith has been dealing with a back injury, and backup tackle Chuma Edoga was on the injury report last week with a toe injury. At linebacker, the Cowboys lost Leighton Vander Esch to a neck injury in October and have used Damone Clark and Marquise Bell, a converted safety, as their top linebackers. Last week, they cut Rashaan Evans to make room for offensive tackle Matt Waletzko after Evans's arrest on a marijuana possession charge. Collins and Wilson have questions that need to be answered. Collins suffered torn anterior cruciate, medial collateral, and posterior cruciate ligaments in his left knee late last season with the Bengals. Cincinnati released him in September, although he has worked out for teams during the year. In 2022, Wilson was arrested in Frisco, Texas, on a charge of assault with bodily injury to a family member. The NFL suspended him for 4 weeks under the personal conduct policy, but he would be eligible to play. If there ever was a time for the Dallas Cowboys to follow their Carpe Omnia mantra, the Week 18 clash against the Washington Commanders is the chance to do it. The Cowboys know that a win at FedEx Field on Sunday will secure the number 2 seed and the NFC East crown, so it is gut check time. After Dallas narrowly beat the Detroit Lions 20-19 on Saturday night, the following day, the Philadelphia Eagles slipped up against the Arizona Cardinals, handing the Cowboys a clear path to the division and home field in the playoffs. With our game going against Washington for a division title, man, you couldn't write that up any better. What a cool moment to be here, just as it should be, defense coordinator Dan Quinn said. It's going to be a battle this week and we're ready. Just a couple of weeks ago, the Cowboys seemed a certainty to finish as the number 5 seed and have to take their talents on the road to begin the playoffs, in a similar fashion to last season. But with the Eagles imploding as they have lost 4 of their last 5 games, and Dallas going through its 5-game gauntlet with a 3-2 record, the NFC and division race has been flipped on its head. But while all the talk of the Cowboys getting the number 2 seed and a home playoff game is all good and well, that is predicated on Dallas actually beating Washington. But beware a team that has nothing to lose. The Commanders would love nothing more than to spoil Dallas's party as they did last season in a 26-6 win, as they look to salvage something from their year. Sometimes an opportunity comes and you gotta go get it, Quinn said. You recognize when moments come, you go and you take your shot. You make your mark and you go for it. We certainly have a group that will do that. Given the Cowboys' road woes this season, getting a home field advantage, where they are undefeated this season, is of the utmost importance. As luck or the lifting of a certain curse would have it, things have turned the Cowboys' way after a dramatic Week 17. It's all in front of the Cowboys' win, and the NFC East and number 2 seed will be secured at the expense of a rival. In what is an ironic twist, the Cowboys have a chance to seize everything on Sunday. And it doesn't matter what it looks like or by how much. The message is simple. The third story is Jerry Griddy with Cowboys on brink of improbable NFC East title. No team in the NFL is having a better 2024 than the Dallas Cowboys. They benefited from a controversial game-deciding penalty to beat the Detroit Lions last Saturday night. They ended decades-long chasm between owner Jerry Jones and former coach Jimmy Johnson with an emotional Ring of Honor ceremony. They received a late Christmas gift from the Philadelphia Eagles, who coughed up a 15-point lead at home and lost to the lowly Arizona Cardinals, opening the door for the NFC East title. And, perhaps best of all, the Cowboys now face the ideal opponent on the regular season's final Sunday, with a chance to secure not only their division championship, but also the NFC's number 2 seed and a home game in the playoffs. To fully take advantage of all their good fortune, all Dallas has to do is beat the Washington Commanders Sunday afternoon at FedEx Field. The 4-12 Commanders have lost a league-high 7 in a row, including a 45-10 laugher to the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium on Thanksgiving. What a way to start the year. It's exciting to no end, Jones said on his radio show on 105.3 The Fan Tuesday morning. Back in training camp, it was printed on our forehead that the goal was to have the best possible situation for the playoffs. That implies getting to this spot going into the final game. This is where we wanted to be. In an audibly giddy mood, Jones downplayed the luck of the final play against the Lions, in which Detroit's 2-point conversion to take a lead with 23 seconds remaining was negated by a technically confounding reporting penalty. "I can't believe the convoluted way that we ended up winning that game," he said. "But just one play doesn't do it. There were a lot of plays in that final sequence that were questionable, but let me put it like this. The defensive team is supposed to know who the eligible receivers are. Anything you do to fuzzy that up can get fuzzy for you." As for the Eagles' loss, Jones said, I literally couldn't believe it. And as for his long-awaited Ring of Honor reconciliation with Johnson, it was a great day for both of us. As the 2023 calendar year came to an end, Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy admitted one of the last things he did before the new year, cheering for the Cardinals, of course. Obviously, he wasn't alone as Cowboys Nation, from fans to players and coaches, all celebrated Arizona's win over the Eagles, which gives the Cowboys now a direct chance to win the NFC East and gain the number 2 seed in the playoffs. "Nothing surprises me," McCarthy said on Monday. "I was there rooting for the Cardinals all the way, my wife and I, in the fourth quarter. But you see it all the time. It's such a competitive league. I think we all understand how hard it is to win a game each and every week.